To talk about this more, I want to bring in NBC News political analyst Rick Tyler, who is the former national spokesman for the Ted Cruz campaign, and Ken Blackwell, a Republican and former Secretary of State for Ohio. Rick, I want to start with you.
Hey, Stephanie.
Donald Trump's team, at least for the last week, has been saying, we want to stay on message. He is the business candidate who can talk jobs, the economy, and put people back to work. Yet they've kind of been given a gift from God with this Clinton Foundation issue, haven't they?
Yeah, what's remarkable about this AP story is the AP has a lot of credibility. And by the way, it had been argued out 3 years ago when the AP requested the calendar of Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and they stonewalled it. So the AP actually had to sue to get the records. And so these come out now, 70-plus days before the election. And so Donald Trump has been given a gift, and remarkably, he's been pretty much on message about this because, look, this campaign breaks down the two central and competing arguments. On one hand, Hillary Clinton needs to convince people that Donald Trump does not have the temperament, is not fit to be president. She's been hammering away at that. And Donald Trump needs to convince people that she can't be trusted. They both have double-digit leads in these respective areas, and the one who wins this battle between those two competing arguments will probably win the election.
Rick, you're a communications guy. You know best. Politico reported that some Clinton insiders said she simply should just wait the clock out here. The less she says, the better. We're less than 80 days away, and she's so far ahead in the polls. Is that the right strategy? That
was true, a day and a half ago, but that is not true today because this AP story blows it open wide. And what you have sort of Robbie Mook going out there, sort of giving answers that would have worked 20 years ago. But what he forgets is that voters are so much more sophisticated today. They can follow the 24-hour news. They can see things. So when he says things like, oh, they never took a salary from the Clinton Foundation, look, they know how the game works. They know how it's rigged. They know how the Clintons made millions and millions of dollars from speaking fees that seem to be coming from the leverage that comes from the Clinton Foundation. And the inordinate amount of people that she saw who were donors. So this is, pay to play. The problem with Donald Trump is when you have pay to play, she's to play, and he's always been the pay. So it's hard for him to, get her on this issue because he's been a part of that for a very long time.
Ken, you're from the important swing state of Ohio. Could this issue plaguing Hillary Clinton right now actually affect a state like yours?
Absolutely. I think national security is an issue that's playing across the country, and it's playing in Ohio. Look, for the last 2 years of the George H.W. Bush administration and most of the first year of the Bill Clinton administration, I worked at the State Department. I was the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations in charge of the human rights portfolio. And let me tell you, this stinks. And the smell is just not contained to inside the Beltway. It goes across the country when one of the big issues, both domestic and foreign, is safety and national security. And the fact that you have a former Secretary of State actually playing this game of pay to play for the funding of their foundation, again, it smells, and I don't think that they're going to be able to contain the smell.
But does Donald Trump run the risk that he's not the right person to make this argument? This is a guy who does have business ties overseas, lenders. He has potentially had connections to Vladimir Putin. We've seen him compliment very dangerous people from overseas. Look at the guy's business history. Is he the right person to make these arguments against Hillary?
Well, let's start out by saying he was not the Secretary of State. He was not the third most important person in the United States government when it comes to foreign affairs and national security. This was a position that she, in a singular fashion, has held. Believe me, Donald Trump will not be the only person making this case against her as being a national security risk. Those of us who have had experience in the national security field will, in fact, make the case. We'll prosecute the case, and it's not going to go away. It's not going to be able to, they're not going to be able to, push it under the rug. And I think Donald Trump needs to hit national security issues, but he also needs to put this economy back on a growth path. We have witnessed anemic growth, poor job creation, and I tell you, many communities That's the two things they want. They want to be able to work, and they want safety, both in their neighborhood and in the world.
Senator Jeff Sessions is on the stage right now awaiting Donald Trump to make his way there. I want to stay on that, Ken, because just in the last week, Donald Trump is trying to broaden out his reach to the Latino community, the African-American community. I want to share some of the things he said. Take a look.
Right now, you walk down the street, you get shot. You can go to war zones in countries that we're fighting, and it's safer than living in some of our inner cities. You're living in poverty. Your schools are no good. You have no jobs. 58% of your youth is unemployed. What the hell do you have to lose?
Listen, he is saying to this community, you need jobs. It's time to fix that. But he hasn't offered a plan. Given his history with the African-American community, all of the things he said and his polling numbers, can simply saying, you know, what else you got, is that enough? Ken?
No, it's not. And the fact of the matter is that he understands that capital seeks the path of least resistance and greatest opportunity. And he knows that in many of our urban communities, capital is being repelled because of crime rates, because of inadequate schools and worker preparation. He understands that one of the things that we have to do to get dollars of capital that's being banked someplace outside of the country or on the fence, he understands that we have to work in those urban areas to make sure they have better schools, that they in fact have lower crime rates, and that they have people who in fact want to start in the entrepreneurial spirit small businesses in their neighborhoods, and he can then tell them that they are faced with the same overregulation problems. They are faced with the same problems of that every other business, small business, is faced with. They need access to capital. I think he can tell them better than Hillary Clinton. What she wants to do is grow the welfare state. She wants to grow dependence because, in fact, then she has a permanent political pot of voters from which to depend.
Ken, we have to leave it there. We've got to take a quick break because Donald Trump is going to be hitting that stage in just a moment. Ken, Rick, thank you for joining me.